It's time to deep dive into the collectively crushed soul of the degenerate trifecta in a segment we hate to call BetAches. All right, mine's easy. I didn't have one for the whole weekend. I wanted to be like some of these guys. I wanted to be like Harry, but no, I don't have any BetAches. I was on my way. It was Sunday afternoon. I didn't have a BetAche in sight, except I needed the Tennessee Volunteers baseball team to win, to beat Notre Dame, to take the Knoxville Regional. They're home. They lose game 1. They smoke Notre Dame on Saturday in game 2, and they have a 3-1 lead in the 7th inning. Now, 3-1 is a dreaded score in my household because my sons, my oldest and my youngest, call me 3-1, as in you're 3 foot 1 inch tall. Like my little shit 8-year-old calls me 3-1. He's a foot shorter than me, but he calls me 3-1. He's like, 3-1, what are we having for dinner tonight? So whenever it's 3-1, I want the score to change. I want the pitch count to change, whatever. 3-1 comes up in your life more than you know. 3-1 in the 7th. I think Notre Dame has 3 hits up to that point. They have a runner on with 2 outs. It was 1 or 2 strike. I guess it was 1 strike. At this point, they're probably minus 1,000, right, Bri? Tennessee, 3-1 the 7th, 2 outs. Right? They need 7 outs, right?
Yeah, because they were what, minus 600 going into that game?
Well, they were like minus 385 or something.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, right. But I have that on a parlay. Everything else hits. Shevchenko's on it, so I got lucky there. Next batter, ball barely clears the wall. Home run, ties it. Next batter hammers it over the wall. Notre Dame goes ahead 4-3. The favored Vols bow out. They crush my parlay. That's my BetAche. Move over, Clay Travis. Vols baseball players now the most despicable fellas in all of Tennessee. Thanks for nothing. Go ahead, Brian. I know you have a bad one too from UFC.
Well, that's a tough one. Although, like, college baseball is so hard to bet, right? And college softball, I love because you get an idea. You can watch a pitcher and you know they're going to pitch for the main game, so it's a little bit easier. Right. College baseball, so tough. But yeah, so I'm going to go with. So this weekend, my betting was definitely the UFC main event with Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prochazka. But let me say that fight, an all-timer, an instant classic. I mean, each guy had a chance to there was like 10 different times I thought maybe that fight was going to be over. So kudos to those guys. It was a great fight. But I did bet, I had Glover to win in the 4th round at 22-1. And I bet him to win in the 5th round at 28-1. Now, it seemed lucky to even get to the 5th round at that point. But I will say Glover had Prochazka early in that 5th round, like completely out on its feet. He was literally done. Like, I think couple more punches, 2 or 3 more punches landed there. The ref might have stopped it, but then he went in for the takedown. And basically Prochazka like fell on him and was just dead weight. Like, I've never seen a guy lay on top of a guy for like 30 seconds, just literally like dead weight. I was telling somebody, it reminded me like in Goonies when the dead body falls on Chunk in the closet, like that's how it was to me. He was just laying on top of him until he got his bearings straight. But yeah, losing out on 28-1, that would have been awesome for me. Although I will say, I don't feel as bad for myself, though, losing that one compared to people who just had Glover to win that fight. Because he was up 3-1. He was on his way to
again with the 3-1. Shit. All right.
He was on damn 3-1. He was on his way to winning that 5th round too, and then he gets choked out with like 25 seconds left. So it was awful. We had somebody, one of our fans had tweeted us about that. He lost on the Overeem fight. He got screwed on that. 2 years ago? Or
I was looking at that. I don't even know where you could bet this. This is like a full UFC card. He lost that Overeem. He said he lost like $30,000. Had that not stopped
it was
5 seconds before.
Yeah, it's like weird. So so listener Bart Barrett, he had it's like I have to check. It's some fantasy.
It's like type, MMA classic 12 fights, and he won all of them.
Fantasy thing. But yeah, if Teixeira wins, he would have won 50. I guess he won 5,000 anyway. But if Teixeira won, he would have won 55 grand.
This is weird. I'm looking at it. It looks like a head to head, and he just lost by 5 points. But why would he get 10-1 odds on this?
I think it was a bigger thing. He probably was able to look up the head to head because I think it said he finished in 6th place and the other person finished in 1st.
All right.
So he's probably just comparing it.
Bart Barrett. Yeah, she said that was going to be a bad beat. These are called BetAches. These are not bad beats. But yeah, there you go. Hey, Harry, weren't you in the Goonies at one point? I can't remember.
Shut up.
Shut up. All right, forget it. Maybe I was wrong. Parlay Kid, you have a bad beat too.
Darren just gets it.
I said it again.
No, I just get it. Well, because, in my mind, I mean, Sal, if your kids are saying 3-1, what do they call Harry 2-1? Like, what do they say? It
doesn't really make sense. I try to explain it to my 8-year-old. Yeah.
Whatever they call me, I think that the kids kind of like me more than they like their own father. That's okay.
Sal, you're a good 4 inches taller than Harry. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, I know. Remember when Harry was convinced he was taller than me? I was like, Harry, what are you talking about?
I knew you were taller than me. It might be an inch and a half. It might be.
I know, but the way you were bragging, you're like, I'm tall. What are you talking about? I'm tall. I'm like, what? Known you for 40 years.
Maybe I can pull a fast one on you. Yeah. I don't know.
Not even close. So my bet ache, and those are some rough ones this weekend. Mine started right out on Friday night. It's a game we talked about. It was one of the bets I talked about on the podcast, as well as Golden State to win the first quarter on Friday night's game. I was getting some plus action on that. And, looking back, I mean, they're up by 5 with 1 minute and 27 seconds left. I feel pretty good, right? With the ball. Steph misses a shot at that time. And then Tatum drills a 3, etc. At some point to tie it at 25-25.
Mm-hmm.
Warriors do a really nice job of kind of extending the clock possession. Probably they couldn't hold because there was 31 seconds left in the quarter when it was 25-25. They do a nice job. Poole makes a layup with 7 or 8 seconds left, right at the end of the shot clock. So, all right, good. Boston can't really, they're going to get a shot off, but it might, it's going to be a difficult shot.
Right.
Sure enough, out of all guys, and this guy seems to screw me, and I think he's screwed a couple, maybe he's won a couple of us bets, but Grant Williams, corner 3, kind of this is kind of, I wouldn't say it was necessarily a Hail Mary, but it was kind of like that.
Yeah.
And as soon as it goes up, what do you think I'm thinking? I'm like, it's going in, right? You're preparing yourself.
You walk away. You do the step.
You're like, it's going in. It's going in, right? And then when it actually goes in, you feel sick to your stomach for there's a sickness. I can't believe that went in, but you knew it was going in.
Right.
But at the same time, and you start feeling am I cursed? Am I cursed here? How does this happen? Because, the chances of that at that point, I don't know. You feel like it's maybe 20%. I have an 80% chance of winning there. In my mind, at least. And of course, it goes in. And that was the worst one I suffered this weekend by far.
That's what makes a bet ache. That's what does it. Harry doesn't have any. You've been very lucky. I think he stopped gambling. I think he's done gambling.
Listen, I could say in the same game. By the way, that shot by Williams, I wouldn't call it a Hail Mary there. I would have called it a regular shot. But besides that, from the corner. But I did have Jaylen Brown. I had Jaylen Brown over 2.5 threes. He hits a second 3 minutes into the second quarter, and it's Jaylen Brown here who's getting scoring a bulk of the Boston points. Goes 0 for 5 the rest of the way from 3. So
all right, you have one that counts.
Something.
Well, but except you probably lost $6 on that.
But if I could also, of course he did.
Or 0.
Is Harry standing up? Also, by the way, Grant Williams had 3 points that whole game. By the way, took 2 shots, 3 points that game. That was his one basket. That makes it even worse. Sakes. Come on, that's Hail Mary. Come on.
All right, Meatballs. Let's hear the music again.